Aloha! Welcome to the Magnetic Marriage Activation. I'm so excited that you're able to make it here today for this beautiful experience. We are on day 3 of our session here, and yesterday we worked on manifesting our belief in our partners and flipping our negative spouse fulfilling prophecies to positive ones so that we can bring out the best in our partners, and expressing gratitudes to back up those skills. So it's such a powerful skill to be able to believe in our partners because it really helps them be their best self. When we don't believe in our partners, it's really hard for them to really believe in themselves also. It's kind of like they're swimming and we're pulling them down under the water. If they're drowning, they're starting to drown because they're not quite making it right. They're not quite showing up as their best self. They're not quite seeing the good in the world and in themselves. And then we point out that over and over, and that just brings more of the same. So we think that pointing out the things that are going wrong in our relationships is beneficial, but when we do that, it actually just makes the problem worse. And in my experience, when this happens to me, when other people are pointing out the things that I'm doing wrong, or they believe that I need to fix in myself, it doesn't support me. It doesn't make me feel happier. It just makes me feel more stressed out. And it's really hard on me. And I really believe with all my heart that as I show up as this most loving human being that I am, and I just start really believing and seeing the best in, my husband and my children, and just really seeing them as the amazing people that they actually are, and my friends and my family, and bolstering their strength up instead of pushing them down under the water as they're trying to swim this like huge distance, which is like a metaphor for life and marriage. Instead of pushing them down, I like to build them back up. And in so doing, that brings up this amount of love. And so that was what our homework was for last week, was to use a positive self-fulfilling prophecy, or in other words, saying something, a manifesting statement that helps lift them up, helps them swim better, helps them be their best self, rather than pushing them down and saying, hey, you're not doing it right. And so my negative SFP used to be, my husband doesn't love and support me, doesn't want to spend time with me. And then I flipped that upside down, and instead I said my positive one, which was, my husband loves and supports me, he believes in me, and he wants to spend time with me all the time. And I have lots of variations on that. It sounds like something like, my husband absolutely adores me, he's obsessed with me, he loves to be with me, and he can't wait to help and support me in every way he can. And I have so much evidence of that truth. And I always had that evidence, but I didn't always notice it. And so that is why this skill is so powerful. And so if you didn't catch the last session, I am sending the replay for you. I'm just still working on getting that edited and making sure there's no flaws in the video. And then I post it on YouTube, and then I send that over to you so you can watch it. It's a very powerful skill. And gratitudes, of course, are very powerful also. Instead of saying all the things that we don't like that our partners are doing and how they're failing us, we instead tell them all the things that they're doing that are succeeding and that we're very happy about, and that helps them to step more into that. Who doesn't love to be appreciated, and who hates it when they're criticized? And that is my experience, and I feel so much better. And then, of course, the final one was an apology. And apologies are a really powerful skill because they help you to be accountable for your part in a problem without blaming your partner. And what I used to do is I used to be like, well, I'm not going to apologize for the thing that I did wrong because the thing they did wrong was worse than the thing I did wrong. And I had tons of evidence to prove that that was accurate. But when we do that, it's not helpful because you're not coming from a place of power. You're coming from a place of, what should I say? You're coming from a place of weakness and powerlessness. But when you come from a place of accountability, and how can I be the best version of me so that I can contribute that energy to this relationship. It's empowering. It doesn't feel like, oh my gosh, everything I do is wrong. Everything they do is wrong. Nothing's working out. And the only way to fix this problem is to get divorced. And that's just not true. And you're going to end up with the similar problems, or not, if not the exact same problems in your next relationship, if you don't work on those things now, today, in the here and now, in the present moment. So thank you so much for listening to that, to my story on that. And so today, day 3, is we're going to do our heart talks. So heart talks are a really powerful skill. They're a tantric communication skill. And I love to call it tantric communication because when I first learned about the heart talk, I've never really had conversations in my life that were soft and sweet and gentle. No, just wasn't a thing. And it always felt like, you could be having fun with the people you love, but they weren't and joking around and being playful, which I'm really good at. But to have a deep, loving conversation about intimate topics that are painful to talk about, that wasn't something that I grew up with, and that wasn't something that we did in my first marriage. It wasn't something that I experienced. And so these heart talks are really powerful because it's like having the most loving, sweet conversation where you really feel heard and you really hear your partner. You really listen and hear. You don't get defensive. You don't get angry. You don't become argumentative. You don't complain. You don't walk away. You just be present and you contribute loving energy into that conversation. And it doesn't matter whether you're even in a relationship now or you're just a parent. It doesn't matter what's happening in your life. Tantric communication is essential for your life. It's essential for your happiness. It's a way of being that I didn't really know existed, to be honest. I just didn't know it. And so I really want to share that with you. So let's begin this session with a meditation. So let's take a deep breath in. And we're going to invite the energy of love into this session. And we're going to intend to send a hello to every person in our town who needs to love and be loved, who wants to connect with others, to connect to their partners, who has a desire to rise the vibrational frequency of the earth. Just want to connect to each one of them. We're going to do that we're going to connect our crown chakras. Up here is our crown chakras. We say hello to, from that energy, that loving energy of unconditional love. We're going to say hello and connect. And all you need to do to connect is simply intend to connect. So take a deep breath in. We are all energetically connected, so we can connect instantaneously to anyone at any time. And we'll do that now. Take a breath and breathe in the energy of love and connect to all the people in the world who desire to love and be loved. Take another deep breath in. Ground yourself to the earth, sending all negative self-beliefs about yourself and others down to the center of the earth. And imagine that you're connecting through your crown chakra to the cosmic energy, the loving energy of unconditional love. Breathe it into your body, through your heart, through your crown chakra, to your third eye chakra, to your throat chakra, to your heart chakra, to your sacral chakra, your root chakra, and breathe in. And relax your shoulders and your mind and your heart, and be right behind your eyes, right here. Just bring your energy right behind your eyes. Relax your shoulders. Let go of all stress and intend to love and be loved. Breathe in the energy of love. Breathe out fear. Breathe in energy of love. Unconditional love, and breathe out control. Send that control to the center of the earth to be cleansed, and come back to the room right behind your eyes. Wow. Thank you so much for connecting with me. What a gift you are. Thank you. So, a heart talk is a beautiful skill where we have the opportunity to communicate to our partners in a way that is unconditionally soft, sweet, and loving. Not aggressive or cruel, not controlling or dominating, not demanding, but present. This is a skill that we're going to want to work on for the rest of our lives. Because if you're anything like me, a lot of your conversations have not been soft and sweet. They have not felt safe. They have felt lonely and scary and teary. And there hasn't been the sweetness that we all desire. So what we do when we want to have a heart talk with our partner is we ask politely for one. And why would we want to have a heart talk? Well, we want to communicate something to our partner that's important to us. And so we simply ask for a heart talk because it is a very respectful way of showing up in your relationship. It's not demanding or controlling. It is healing. It's healing. And we are very respectful when we ask politely for a heart talk instead of demanding. I know I used to get really upset with my husband, and I would want to talk right here, right now, no matter what, because I'm in a lot of pain. And we all have those moments, and that's okay. That's okay to be imperfect. We're all here imperfectly. We're imperfect beings. But when we desire to show up differently, when we desire to have the kind of connection that we had during our honeymoon, or that passionate, unconditional loving connection that we desperately need for healing and growth, to have a beautiful connected family, we need to recognize that showing up in that way, angry and demanding and controlling, even if we don't intend to, is hurtful. So when we ask permission for a heart talk, it's a respectful action. So we go to our partner, and this is what I did with my husband when I really need to figure out a solution to a problem that seems impossible to solve. And I would say, honey, are you available to have a heart talk with me right now? And he would say, not right now, but I will later on tonight. And then I will say, when is good for you? And he'll say, let me check, maybe at 7 p.m. And so I would say, thank you. I really appreciate that you're open to hearing my heart and to communicating with me and connecting with me. And I'm really grateful for that. And then I softly touch his hand, and I connect with my eyes energetically. And I say, I just send him love. And as I do this, he feels so loved and respected that it gets the conversation ready for softness and kindness to occur, rather than judgment and control, and no demanding, and just respect and love. And so when the time arrives for us to have the conversation, I show up in my best energy, preparing myself for a loving communication to occur. And when you're distressed, it can be a little harder to show up in this way. So you're going to have to prepare yourself and be okay with your vulnerability without blame and shame. So show up in your vulnerability, not your fear, but in your vulnerability. And so what I would say to my husband is, honey, I'm feeling really upset and afraid because I feel like I can't keep up with all the work that I have to do in the house and with the business and in all the areas of my life. And I feel overburdened by all these things that have to be done. And I feel like I can't do them all on my own. And I'm feeling really scared that I can't do it. And I feel inadequate. And from this emotional place of vulnerability, there's no blame and shame in my words. And then my husband will say back, I hear you saying that you're feeling overwhelmed with your workload, too much responsibility on your shoulders, too much housework and schoolwork and business work and trying to keep up with your health and fitness and your exercise routines or whatever it is that I said and I communicated. And he would just repeat back what I said, just in his best words, understanding that we don't want to be exact parrots, but that we just feel like, in even using some of the same words, just feel like we are fully heard. And then he would say, did I get that right? And I would say, yes, you got that right. Or if I felt like he needed more clarity, then I would say, yes, and I feel like I can't, I'm barely making it. I'm feeling really distressed. It's causing me a lot of grief. And then he would say, I hear you saying that it's causing you a lot of grief and you're barely making it through, and it's really painful for you, and it's been a really big challenge. And I would say, yes, that's correct. And then he would say, is there more? And I would say, yes, and I really feel like I need some more support, and I'm not really sure how to make that work. And he would say, I hear you saying that you desire more support. And I would say, yes, that is correct. And then he'd say, is there more? And I would say, no, that's it. Thank you so much for listening. And then he would say, you're welcome. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate your sharing this, your vulnerable heart with me, and such soft sweetness and such soft, sweet communication. And he can also express his heart or express a desire to share his heart at that time also. If he felt like the words he was going to say in response to me are going to be helpful to me, then that would be the correct time to say, for him to say, would you like to hear my heart? And then if he felt like it was going to be a positive conversation, he would ask if I was prepared for that. But if he felt like his words might be hurtful or harmful to the conversation, this would not be the best time for him to say, I would like to have a heart talk, because he might say in that case, if he was like also feeling extremely overwhelmed but not feeling very positive or optimistic, and not feeling very much like he wanted to help or serve or figure out a solution, or maybe he's overwhelmed and he can't handle it at this time, then that wouldn't be the right time. But if he felt like he could help me in some way, or that he would like to work together to solve this problem, then he would say, I would love, are you open to hearing my heart? And I would say yes. And then he would say, oh man, this sounds really hard. I really love you, and I just wanted you to know that I really love you, and that I want to serve and help you, and I would like to come up with a solution to this difficulty. Is there, would you like to do a work talk and how to figure out a solution to this problem? He might say something like that. And I would say, I hear you saying that you're open to doing a work talk right now, and that you would like to help me to feel better, and that you really love and appreciate me and want to help me to move through these difficult emotions that I'm feeling right now. So that's his reflection back to me. And then I would say, and he would say, yes, that is correct. And I would say, I would love to have a work talk. And if we wanted to do that work talk right then we would go ahead and we would do a beautiful meditative prayer together, so that we can bring in the energy of love and unity, similar to what we just did just now at the beginning of this session. And let's do that again. So let's just imagine that we're with our partners right now, and our partners are sitting here with us. And if your partner's actually with you, then this is perfect, because you can just sit and facing each other. And I would like you to invite the beautiful eye gazing. And then I would like you to take a breath. And then breathe out. and invite love into this conversation. And breathe in and breathe out. And if you would like, you could have a prayer together and invite the spirit of unconditional love into the conversation, and invite the support and unity that you desire. And if you would rather just do a meditation on it, then one of you would just guide the meditation and just say, we invite the energy of unconditional love into this conversation. We breathe that in right now. Breathe that out. We invite unity. We invite divine support into this conversation. And we believe that we will come up with a solution to these problems today or in the next few days. A beautiful win-win conversation. This will be a win-win conversation. And nobody will lose. And there will be love. Love, love, love will be in this conversation now. And you just breathe that in. And you hold each other's hands and take another deep breath in. And you can also do the Yabyum pose. That's where the woman climbs on the man's lap and you breathe in unison, and then you invite the energy of love and have a prayer together and come back to the room. It doesn't have to be long. It just has to be setting the intention to receive divine support and guidance, to receive loving support and guidance. Then you're going to do, since you already did your heart talk, because a work talk, it starts with a heart talk and a prayerful meditation, or a prayer or a meditation. And then you do what we call, you just decide what you're going to be talking about. So in this case, so I was saying that I felt overwhelmed. And so my husband would say, okay, so what would you like the conversation to be about? And then we would grab a pen and a paper and we'd write it down. So for me, during this time, I basically wanted to divvy out responsibilities to figure out how to reduce stress, and receive support. And so then we would do a brainstorming session on how to do that. And so we would just come up with every single thing that we can think of that could possibly solve that problem. For me, that would be something like hiring a house cleaner, hiring an advertising agency, working together on the housework, working together on the business work, getting more help from the kids. It would be things like doing more fun things so that I feel less stressed, taking a break from work. And then we would just come up with anything that we can think of that would be on that list. And you brainstorm for about 10 minutes, maybe longer depending, and then you don't analyze at all during the brainstorming session. So brainstorming is simply just for coming up with solutions to a problem. So we just get it all out there on the paper, write it all down, figure it out, and no talking about it. We can write crazy things on this paper. We could say something like, oh, we could just take $1 million and buy a place in a country that has house cleaners for $250 a month, something crazy like that. The most essential part of the win-win work talk is that it be a win-win. So we are agreeing at the beginning of this conversation that it will be a win-win. If it is not a win-win, then it is not a work talk. We have not succeeded. We're going to have to go back again to redo this conversation because it didn't work out. And we don't want to do so blaming or shaming or demanding or controlling, but in a soft, sweet, energy of love way. And that's why we invite that meditative prayer into our conversation, so that by the time we're complete, we both feel like we both won and we're happy. We're smiling and we're laughing, and it's not stressful. We're not crying, and it's not, we might have to cry a little bit here and there, but like it's not like the world is coming to an end, which is sometimes how it feels when you're having that heart talk and you're talking about how overwhelmed and distressed you are. There's just too much going on, and there's just not enough time in the day to complete it all. Write anything down really here, and it can be playful and silly, and sometimes adding playful and silly things into the brainstorming session helps to keep the mood light instead of feeling blaming or shaming, like, oh my gosh, this is so heavy, this is too heavy for me, this is too much weight for me to carry, which is kind of the feeling that I would have when I started a conversation like this. And so after you're done that, then you go ahead and start crossing off. The next section is to analyze what you have come up with. So you start crossing off the things that you don't want to do, that one or both of you don't agree with. And once you have a few things left over, then you go to the second to last part of the win-win work talk. Go ahead and decide, okay, we're going to do some research into this. So say you did actually want to hire a house cleaner, then you would go and do some research into hiring a house cleaner, find out how much money it would be, and decide if you can come up with that, or maybe you can have them come in once a week, or maybe you can have like somebody doing the cooking and cleaning, or having more time away from the family, or whatever it is. So, and then or an advertising agency would. Like, let's go look into that, see how much that costs, let's see if we can make that work, and go in with it with an open heart and an open mind. And so by the time you're done, or maybe maybe one of the solutions was we wanted to, my husband would spend more time helping in the house, or maybe we'd work together to do it, make it a happier, funner, more fun experience. Maybe the kids would help together and we'd work together for like an hour or 2 hours, and then after that we could go get ice cream or go watch a movie or something to make it more fun. And so we would come up with those solutions, and then we would bring that conversation back at a later time once we do a little research on it, and then we decide one way or another, and then we start implementing. The implementation is the final step. Now, sometimes when we implement, we find out that it didn't work quite as planned, so we might have to go back to this win-win work talk. So that is the first step, is the heart talk and then the work talk. So I'm going to invite you this week to do homework on a heart talk and a work talk. So remember, invite your partner to step one, invite your partner to a heart talk. You cannot have a heart talk without inviting and receive permission to do so. When you do talk, do so respectfully, kindly, being vulnerable in your emotions, not in a way, not a blaming and shaming way, but in a loving and open way. And if you're having a hard time doing that, you're going to have to reschedule that event so that you can be respectful and kind, and do some self-care in between, and do some soothing, do some care cycles. A care cycle is where you do some kind of self-care and do some kind of meditation and bring yourself back into alignment so that love can flow in your heart and mind. So that's how we do those. So, and that's for your homework. I want you to practice one heart talk and do one work talk. And there's always something to work talk about. You could do a work talk on vacation. You could do a work talk on whether you want to have another baby. You could do a work talk on moving, or how you can have more fun and adventure in your life, or how to get the kids to do their schoolwork, or figuring out any problem. You can do a heart talk and a work talk on. So I really invite those. They don't have to go together. Heart talks can sometimes just be a nice conversation because you really need to get something out or talk about something, but you don't want to do so in a blaming, shaming way. You want to do it in an open-hearted, loving way. All right, so let's breathe in. We're going to visualize our success in having this heart talk and this work talk. So take a deep breath in. Imagine that you're walking in this beautiful path. This beautiful path is leading to your favorite place in the whole world. This can be a real place, or it can be an imaginative place. And as you walk, you get more and more relaxed. And you can feel the earth beneath your feet. Imagine it's a sandy path that's soft. You connected to the earth. And then you can feel the cosmic loving energy flowing through your crown chakra all the way down through your body, filling up your whole body with unconditional love, healing you, soothing you, cleansing you. The fear flows out through your feet and down to the center of the earth, and the cosmic energy of unconditional love flows through your crown chakra all the way down to your feet, flowing through your body. Love, 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 unconditional love. Now I want you to imagine that as you walk through your favorite place in nature, the beautiful air flowing through the trees, the grass is waving in the wind, and you can see in front of you a beautiful pool. The pool is crystal green, blue colored. It is a magical pool. And as you walk up to the pool, you see that it's warm. It's got a little soft, warm water coming out of it, and these beautiful gemstone crystals are inside of that water. And the light is shining through the trees and reflecting in the water and creating these little crystals on the surface of the water. And as you approach, you see your partners there. And you smile at them and run towards them. You can feel the love flowing between the two of you. And you sit down face to face, and your eyes meet, and the energy of love flows between the two of you, the healing energy of unconditional love. And you hold their hands in yours, and you just gaze into each other's eyes, into the windows to the soul, so soft and sweet. And in so doing, there's such a beautiful flow of energy. The breath of life and love flows between your hearts and your minds in a circular pattern. And you both go into this beautiful, you just start walking into this beautiful pool, and it's warm like a hot spring, and you're smiling at each other. And you turn to your partner and you say, Are you open to hearing my heart, honey? And your partner says, Yes, I would love to hear your heart. And you smile and you get a little teary-eyed because the things that you need to say are a little bit hard to say. And you say, I've been feeling, and then you say what you've been feeling. And I want you to imagine as you're holding your partner's hands, that right here, right now, you tell them exactly how you've been feeling. This can be a positive emotion, it can be a difficult emotion, but it is never a blaming and shaming emotion. It's from a place of heart-centered love. Now just imagine you saying this to your partner now. They repeat back what you said, and they say, Did I get that right? And you say, yes, you did. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you listening and being such a great listener. And then they look into your eyes and they say, are you open to hearing my heart? And you say, yes. And you energetically connect to your partner, breathing in the energy of love. And you say, and they say, I'm feeling, and imagine they're saying a feeling that they've been feeling lately. This can be positive or it can be something more difficult to hear, but never blaming or shaming, just a feeling they're having. And you say, I hear you saying, and you repeat back what they said. And then you say, did I get that right? And they said, yes, you did. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you being such a good listener. I really appreciate you. And then you connect, and there's the love that's flowing between you and the soft, sweet, intimate moments together. And you breathe in this beautiful space of peace. And then you say to your partner, would you like to do a work talk on this subject? And your partner says, I would love to. And you decide that what you're going to talk about. And imagine that there's a screen in front of you that just automatically writes down everything that you want to talk about and discuss. And you start doing your brainstorming session. And you just come up with all kinds of amazing ideas. These can be crazy ideas and frivolous fun ideas and just crazy, whatever you can think of. You're just writing those things down on the paper, on the invisible screen. So they have the screen in front of you. And it just automatically goes onto the screen. I want you to imagine that now. And then you come up with these amazing ideas, and you decide that they're crossing off the things off your list, and then you decide on one idea, and you're so excited. You're both so excited about it to try it. And you do research on it, and you come up with this amazing plan, and you imagine now that you're transported to this completed product where you're like, we solved a problem, this problem that's been going on for a while, and we have a solution to this problem, and you're living that solution. So I just want you to imagine living that solution right now. Something wonderful has happened that it kind of takes you out of this distress that you've been in, and you're visualize living in that wonderful moment now. What does it taste like, sound like, feel like? Imagine in detail what it looks like. Imagine you're really enjoying it, laughing, smiling. You've solved this problem that's been going on for so long, and you're so happy that you solved it. Oh, thank goodness. You're so happy. And now I just want you to come back and just bring your energy right back behind your eyes and open your eyes and be here now. How did that feel to do a meditation on a heart talk and a work talk and come up with a solution to a problem that's been going on for quite some time. Would anybody like to share? I know for me, coming up with a solution to a problem that had been going on for so long, my husband and I really struggled with, religion issues where we were raised in the same church, but, we were not sunk up. And I used to get him to go to church with me every Sunday for so many years. And it always felt like he wasn't really there, that he wasn't really enjoying it. He was having a really hard time with it. And for a long time, I just kept pushing and pushing. And then I remember when we went on this beautiful retreat and we learned about the heart talks and the work talks, and we were sitting under the stars in Arizona. It was so beautiful. It was like all these cactuses all around us, and the air was warm, and there was gentle breeze, and it was just like magical. The stars were up above us. We were on a rooftop of this retreat center, and there was a pool down below us, and it was so beautiful. And we were talking about it, and we invited that energy of unconditional love, prayerfully invited that in. And we just, for the first time, we understood each other. And it just really felt like we really connected, and we just really knew each other's hearts. And we stopped trying to demand from the other, but we started to really love each other, like unconditionally, like really, really love each other. And it was like the most beautiful thing. And I really would love for you to experience this heart talk and work talk together. So I invite you for your homework to do these things together, to work on that meditation together, to work on doing the tantric presence during your heart talks and during your work talks, and to invite that energy of unconditional love into the conversation so that you're not feeling that distress and feeling unheard and unloved, and then being unloving and not being a good listener to your partner. And instead bring in that energy of unconditional love during these heart talks and work talks, and just inviting your partner. I would love to have a heart talk. And if you have any quick questions or have anything that you need to have answered, or are confused, or you tried it and didn't work out as planned, I invite you to reach out directly to me. And there's going to be a link in this video and in my channel, and it gives you the opportunity to schedule an appointment with me, which is completely free. And you just can have your first coaching session together, and we can help you work through some of the more challenging aspects of your relationship, especially when it comes to these heart talks and these work talks, because sometimes we have these ways of being that are not very productive or helpful, and they cause us a lot of distress. So I invite you to do that, and I'm really grateful that you're here on this in this magnetic marriage activation. This is our day 3 of the activation, and it's so amazing that you showed up here for yourself and for your relationship, and are willing to grow and respect and become the best version of you, and to be the change that your family really needs. And you are incredible. I just wanted you to give yourself a pat on the back and be really happy that you're willing to show up for yourself and to love yourself and love your partner and your family at this kind of level, because becoming the change and being willing to make changes in yourself, even when it seems like your partner is the worst and they're the ones with all the problems, and it really does genuinely feel like that, like they are the worst and they are the ones with all the problems. But in reality, we all have issues, even if maybe they're not, you might grade them on different levels, but we still all have issues, and we all need and love to feel loved and supported and heard and understood. And so you are amazing for being willing to do that for yourself and for your partner. And it doesn't matter if your partner's on the same page as you, you can still show up as the best you and make a big difference in your relationship. So once again, I invite you to schedule that free call with me. And I look forward to chatting with you. And mahalo for being here. If you have any other questions, let me know now. If you'd like to add anything. No problem. All right. Well, thanks once again for being here. Mahalo and aloha.